Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Hey everyone, checking in on the MJ sector before we get into the thick of it. A little bit of bad news to get out of the way for some of you. So after 5 years and 255 plus weekends of putting out technical analysis videos, I am no longer going to be putting out public weekend content. I'm going to be reserving my weekend time for member content, and that's just going to save me some time. And when you start to look at the numbers over years, even just saving 5 minutes adds up being dozens and dozens of hours of my life. It's been great. I appreciate all the support in the comments. Hope it's been helpful. I'll still be here Monday through Thursday, but again, weekend time will no longer be public. So, checking out the space today, and definitely have to touch base. You know, I'm an experienced trader at this point, 9 years in, but I still feel emotions. And what I mean by that is I looked yesterday after hours and saw, oh man, they're going to gap up the action again tomorrow morning, meaning today. And I felt FOMO. So I want to be very clear that those of us that have experience, it's not that we are immune to feeling these emotions. It's that we are able to recognize them, zoom out from the situation, and not act on them, most importantly. So I felt that FOMO. I reminded myself how well Monday and Tuesday had gone, or Tuesday and Wednesday for trading. And I was able to say, all right, I'll still take day trades, and ended up today with a 2.5 day maker, playing both long and short, and back to a fresh, clean slate of no positions overnight, and back to day trading this volatility and this volume as long as we have it. And boy, do we have volume. So volume climaxes often signal tops and bottoms. At this point, the bottom's in as far as I'm concerned. You know, what is the risk that we fall back down under 1381? And unless there's a big scandal, I don't think we're going to drop under 1381 anytime soon. The volume is the reason. Normally, I'd be waiting for a daily trend change before I would make that statement, but I'm confident making that statement thanks to the volume. And again, it is massive volume. So a second gap up open. We ended up with some healthy hourly consolidation into the end of the day to find a higher low. And as we head into tomorrow, I would not be surprised for anything. And what I mean by that is I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lower open. And the reason is there was a very clear top fish play on a lot of these names where bears were just looking at 2168 resistance. Look where we topped out by 12 cents. We rejected from that level, which is our daily lower high, and bears piled in on that level. Now, could we see another gap up open and more short squeeze? Absolutely. Anything is possible in this range, and I just do not like the risk to reward scenario of being bullish at this point to be swinging bullish positions overnight. How do we play when I approached today with an all cash position? How did I trade it? How do I get in without chasing? The key is to enter when there is a low risk trade. So when we know the bulls are strong, we see a gap up open, we see profit taking in the first 5 to 10 minutes, and then a new high of the day. As soon as we see the new high of the day, we say, well, the buying pressure absorbed all of the selling pressure from the gap up open, and bears are still getting squeezed and the bulls are still buying. That's what happened today. We saw a drop down down to 1854. And if you look at this on the 2-minute time frame, and I was watching the 2-minute time frame due to the speed that we were trading first thing, as soon as we set that low and head back towards the high of the day, I am comfortable making a bullish entry and putting my stop under 1854 and then trying to see how far the bulls can take it. So ended up making an entry first thing this morning and rode it a little bit, taking profit, and then I ended up taking Cronos short a bunch, but I traded CGC. It's almost hard for me to go over all of my trades because I probably made 6 different trades. And again, just locking in little winners. I'm not treating it like I'm going for home runs. The fact that I got a 2.5 day maker today after the rest of this week is just fine with me. At this point, it's a month maker of a week. And that is, again, being conservative. Criteria number 1 for every morning is don't give back the profit you've made this week and try and tack on some wins. So that's what my goal was with my trading today. So we ended up with just a 5-minute uptrend all morning, keeping the bulls in complete control. We did see some significant consolidation here, but we went right back to a new high of the day. And as soon as we saw the 5-minute lower high and lower low, that's when the momentum shifted. And from there, we saw consolidation all afternoon that gave us that hourly higher low. Here's the bulls attempting to see a strong close at the end of the day. But we have a big upper wick and a volume climax candle, and we have a setup as well to be watching for top fishing plays tomorrow. So tomorrow morning, if we see a bull move or a higher open and we fail to break 2156, bears are going to pile in, bulls are going to take profit, and bears will put their stop above 2156. So that would be, let's say, our hourly or our hourly higher low. We failed to break 2156 tomorrow morning, and then if we roll over and break 1960, we know our top is set for now, and we know the daily consolidation is most likely going to take place. If we break 2156, there's a whole nother wave of shorts that will be trapped, and the bulls will keep momentum in their favor if that does end up happening. So why would I not be surprised to see that lower open tomorrow? Because I definitely think a lot of bears establish positions based off this resistance. And as we go through the other names, you'll see that the other names rejected nearby their resistances as well. So what are we looking at from here? When we do top out, again, not confident saying the top is set just yet, but could certainly see how it could play out that way. We're going to be looking for an equilibrium, and we're going to be looking for a higher low on the daily time frame. Let's look at the 4-hour chart, which has started a bit of consolidation, but I don't like the 4-hour. Let's look at the daily. So high, low, maybe our lower high. Wouldn't be surprised to see a daily inside bar tomorrow. And if we set that lower high, we then look for a higher low somewhere in the $17 to $18 range. The more we pull back, the more likely we stay in an equilibrium. So a couple scenarios, if our top is hit and we were to pull back to $20 or $19.50, that favors continuation and a cup and handle pattern. You could definitely see a bull flag and a cup and handle. The psychology is there with the inability to break resistance. If we see healthy contained consolidation and then continuation next week, that's a possibility. We have to keep in mind that we do not have trading in the US on Thursday, and we have a half day. I forget if it's Wednesday or Friday, probably a half day Friday. Double check me on that. But scenario 2 is if our top is hit, the pullback is more significant down towards 18 or 17.50, then we're looking at the potential of an equilibrium into December. So we're going to get a lot of information based on what consolidation looks like, how much bear volume there is, how much pullback we see. And again, those are two scenarios if we've seen our top set, and that may not be the case. It all depends on a high of day test first thing tomorrow. It's going to be a very interesting day tomorrow, and we're going to see a good amount of volume. I would expect we're going to see less volume than we saw today. We'll see. Cron. Anything under 867 is a lower high. We topped out at 805. Hourly time frame, healthy consolidation. Higher low is trying to form. If we fail to break 805 and roll over and break 741, we then lose the hourly uptrend, and that tells us daily consolidation is underway. So again, huge move, bigger than I ever expected, bigger than I've ever seen as far as a shift from clear bear sentiment and despair to FOMO euphoria without news being a reason. And again, that headline of the vote going on in Congress hasn't even gone on in Congress. It was a congressional committee that came out Sunday night. We were red Monday. That headline is not the reason for anything except for getting retail that is not in the know interested in the space. And my friends that are not following the space are messaging me about that headline, which has no impact whatsoever in my opinion because it will never be voted on in a Republican-led Senate. But the point was, remember when the weekend video, what do Tesla and CGC have in common? That Tesla bounce was V-shaped without news because we reached the point where the scales tipped and there was nobody left to go bearish. And that's what we reached in the MJ space. We had institutions like Bank of America find value. They made their entries. They kicked in the FOMO. And that's where we stand. Daily trend changes are a must from here. Are we likely to set daily higher lows? Absolutely. We need the higher lows and higher highs into the end of the year if we're going to be very convinced in the shift in sentiment. So Cron was a very easy short today at a certain point. We had plenty of little higher lows and higher highs. At what point was it an easy short? Right here. So when we lose the 5-minute uptrend with significant pullback, what are the odds that we're going to see a bounce of 6% for a new high of the day when CGC still has not seen significant consolidation at this point? Or what are the odds that we're going to set a lower high? I was betting on a lower high, so I scaled into my short entry. Again, I shorted it probably 5 different times, but this was the most clear one. Scaled in, looking for a lower high compared to 805. I can make an entry at 785 and 7, I can scale in as the bottom line, wherever I decide to do so. If I make my first entry at 790, maybe I make another entry at 799, which wouldn't have filled. But either way, that's our 5-minute lower high. We then saw a 5-minute lower high and lower low with no follow through, which keeps us a bit cautious as bears because that's when we look for the potential of a bull flag. Fortunately for bears, we did end up rolling over and it ended up being a nice 5% plus short by the time we hit that bottom. So made gains on CGC bullish, made gains on CGC or Cron bearish, not significant compared to the previous few days. But again, at this point, it's just icing on the cake and not feeling any FOMO and knowing that there will be plenty of trading opportunity now that we have these wide ranges in the sector and the volume and the interest. My videos are getting twice as many views as they were getting 2 weeks ago. That tells us there's a lot of eyes on the space and everybody is interested in MJ again because there's opportunity in both directions. And we will look to play both directions as long as this volatility continues. And again, with this daily equilibrium setup, we know there's going to be volatility for a while because we will top out eventually. We will set a higher low. And then if we do see a tightening range, we'll have a great equilibrium break to play after that as well. So plenty of trading opportunity, keeping us from rushing and making home run FOMO type moves in the current market. Increasing bull volume is great for ACB. So all that talk about the debentures having no effect right now. And the first bounce day, ACB clearly lagged everybody else. And we could say, maybe that is having an impact. But at this point, clearly catching up in a big way. And ACB, the low to the high, 52%. Remember the video I put out where we were dumping and I said when the bottom is hit, we'll hit 50% pretty easily? Never in a million years would I imagine that that would be in 3 days. But here we go. Under promise, over deliver. Target of 50% has been hit. CGC bouncing 58%. Now we need daily trend changes and weekly trend changes. Could we see 100% move from the bottom? Yes, absolutely. That's a possibility, but we will see consolidation along the way. So ACB, we have our hourly higher lows. The only thing I care about for individual levels, what's the high of today? What is our hourly support level? Those are the 2 levels that I'm watching into tomorrow. There was potentially going to be a top fishing play against resistance. I see CGC right now is down over 1% after hours, going in the opposite direction. And again, shorts had their clear entry points today. Interested to see if they will win out with the lower open. So ACB, if we fail to break 325 and we lose support of 292, that's our hourly loss of the uptrend and our shift to look for daily consolidation. APHA, big time bounce. Most important level for me is 541. We got up to 518. Hourly support, 471. And those are the 2 levels, 518 and 471. Best case for the bulls, they hold hourly support and break the high of today tomorrow. Best case for the bears, fail to break the high and break the low of consolidation. TLRY, 2410 was resistance. 2380 is our top. Very clear top fishing play. Volume climax, big upper wick. Daily candlestick for TLRY looks like the top is in, more so than any name that we just looked at. Hourly support, 2201. Hexo is different. What in the world happened to Hexo? In my opinion, probably just higher short interest and more thinly traded. And we had headlines coming out about Hexo and the possibility of, they're the next CTST, they've got issues. That was happening in the midst of all this fear. and that could be the extra fuel that we're seeing here. But they blew through their daily lower high of 240 and got all the way up to 270 and had a massive day today. So just more thinly traded, more dollar volume, having a bigger impact, and a huge, big day. So again, daily higher low is extremely likely. Hourly support down at 234. Key resistance is 270. After 270, we're looking up at 286 as the next level. OGI. Anything under 377 was the lower high. We got that upper wick. Hourly support is 271. Resistance is 315. CGC keeps dropping after hours. Those shorts flipping the script. Everybody's saying, oh, we're going to do it again, get a higher open. Bears saying, nope. Still a ways to go. We'll see what pre-market does, but if bears open us below hourly consolidation support, momentum will very quickly shift into consolidation mode. I'm all over the place today. Bear with me. VFF, anything under 890 is a lower high. Big upper wick. Potential volume climax. Hourly support is 702. Resistance is 795. We pulled back well over 10% from the high. And the bears are going to be watching for an hourly higher low or an hourly lower high tomorrow. We could start the morning plus 5% and still be looking for that hourly lower high. So now on to USMJ. So again, just to summarize and wrap up Canadian MJ, we have clear daily highs as resistance, hourly higher lows as support. If we break those hourly higher lows, bears have short-term momentum in their favor. And we will then be looking for daily consolidation to form a higher low. I'll be very interested to see if some bearish headlines come out when it is clear that bears have established their positions. We'll check back in on CGC here at the end of the video. So USMJ topping out as well. Bullish reaction to all earnings so far. IAN, a little bit of a bearish reaction initially, but you have to keep in mind that GTII and IAN started pricing in a bullish reaction to earnings. And this happens in developed sectors like the tech sector. Netflix always reports tech sector earnings first, and everybody reacts to what Netflix does. Apple, Google, Amazon, everybody in the tech sector reacts. So the fact that IAN was plus, 7-10% yesterday, that's pricing in a bullish reaction to earnings to a certain degree. So Curaleaf has topped out with a bearish reversal candlestick. If we break the low of today, tomorrow of 846, we look for the daily higher low to form compared to 703. If we lose the daily uptrend into next week, then our weekly lower high has been set, and then we have to form that weekly higher low from there. But we're not close to losing that daily uptrend at this point. We can pull back 20% before we get down to that support level. So if we are going to set our weekly lower high, it's going to look something like this, in my opinion. So just looking for the daily higher low for now. TRUL, bull saw some follow through but closed at the low of the day. So again, it is looking like daily consolidation is underway. If we break 1629 tomorrow, we look for the higher low compared to 1291. Let's see if we get to hourly oversold conditions. Actually, we're nowhere near it. But when we're looking for daily higher lows, hourly oversold conditions are when we start to scout for the potential of that daily higher low being set. So we'll see what the next couple days of consolidation looks like. But again, most USMJ names that had a bullish reaction to earnings are just looking for daily higher lows. CWeb, same thing. Volume climax, bearish reversal candlestick. If we break 1528, the bulls need a daily higher low compared to 1136. Plenty of space to work with, but CWeb still needs a daily trend change to take place. As that has not happened yet, this move is going straight from the bottom to the top right now. Have to see the daily trend change, just like the Canadian MJ names need the daily trend change as well. OH, low, high, higher low, and we're scouting a lower high compared to 550. Has that lower high been set? If we break 447 tomorrow, it has. And then we're looking back down to 384 support. No daily trend change has taken place yet. Have to see that happen. CL, lower high compared to 880 or 888. Bulls have to top out, hold 720, and change the daily trend and get over 888 to prove anything. Earnings still to come. IAN, initially a bearish reaction to earnings. Bulls bought the dip, but again, this doesn't do anything big picture. Still a lot of work to go. We need to see the bulls go over 20% to break 245. And actually it's over 20% to change this weekly trend. If USMJ names cannot change their weekly trend, this doesn't mean a whole lot big picture. The earnings are great. It's great to stifle some of that fear, but we need daily trend changes in Canadian MJ and US trend changes on the weekly time frame, and that is bare minimum criteria if we're going to be looking at any kind of uptrends in this sector. At this point, these are oversold bounces for both on just different time frames. The USMJ bounces a little bit more drawn out. HARV, bullish reaction to earnings after the fact, but a big upper wick of profit taking. Bulls must hold 325. And again, this could be a weekly bear flag. It's drawn out at this point, but all you got to do is change the time frame to the 2-week time frame. When you change the daily trend and don't get any follow through, you have to be cautious of bear flags. And this is a daily trend change with no follow through right now. So have to remain cautious. GTII, gap up open, great response to earnings, 1445 key resistance, but we're extended. If we break the low of 1303, we need a daily higher low to form compared to 1060. Bulls have plenty of space to work with. Weekly time frame, watching for an inverse head and shoulders pattern to potentially set up where we've got our left shoulder, 1445 neckline. Here's our head. Our other neckline may be at 1359. And if we lose the daily uptrend, which again is a ways away from happening, we would then look for the weekly higher low. And again, the weekly trend change is needed. TRUL has already changed its weekly trend. That's why it stood out as bullish to us for so long in the USMJ space. And now it's all about daily trend changes in Canada, weekly trend changes in the US, and key resistance tests first thing tomorrow morning. And I myself may be looking to top fish those resistance levels. The closer we get to them, the better, because that's when our risk is low on the trade. There was another trade on CGC. Again, just thinking back, how do we play these kind of moves? 20 psychological support was defended by these bulls on consolidation, and trying to find where that was. There was a point in time where we just kept testing and holding 20 psychological support, and there was an entry point there to enter off of 20, and I can't find it right now because it was probably on the 1 minute time frame. But again, if I see support holding at 20 and I see bids keep flashing above $20 and getting filled but holding the price up, I can enter right then and there at 20.10, put my stop under 20 and say, okay, if the bulls hold this level, I'm going to have profit and some significant follow through. And if we break this level, I'm going to lose 10 cents, and then maybe by the time my stop fills, I'll lose 12 cents. If I'm risking 12 cents, look how easy it is to make 12 cents on a move like this. When you have this much range, we see our 5 minute lower high and lower low, and I go bearish on the break of 2086, and we drop down to 2055 just like that. There's 31 cents. So if I'm setting up a trade where I'm risking 10 to 15 cents, I could lose that trade 5 times and still make it back with one good trade. So the name of the game is low risk, high reward. And as long as you have a clearly defined exit nearby, that's when it's a good trade setup. So excited to live stream tomorrow morning and see if we get those top fishing bearish entries. Today was my off day, so I was able to focus on my own trading a bit more, but certainly still hanging out in the chat room with everybody else trading. So that's that. I appreciate you watching, and we will see you Monday. Have a good weekend. So I've already mentioned Yanni a couple times here. You're a big fan of Yanni, and went and saw him in concert. My buddy is a painter, so I commissioned a portrait of Yanni, and I finally hung it up.